The day she jabbed a finger at my chest over $37, I realized this fight wasn't about money. It was about respect. I was halfway down my front steps, coffee steaming in my hand, when the HOA president folks around here called her the Queen, marched across my lawn like she owned the place. The sun hadn't even cleared the pines yet. Mist hung low over the pasture, that soft blue haze you only see before morning settles in. She didn't say good morning. Didn't glance at the flag on my porch. Just lifted a crisp white envelope like it was a court order. "You've skipped your dues," she said. Again. I took the envelope, glanced down, and noticed my name spelled wrong. That small mistake somehow made the whole thing feel even colder. "I already sent a letter," I said, calm but firm. "I'm disputing the late fees." She smirked. "You don't get to dispute. You comply." That word comply hit me wrong. Like all the hours I spent mowing the shared easement, fixing the fence when others wouldn't, or painting my own mailbox didn't matter. Like the apple tree my father planted out back, the one he said would outlive both of us. Wasn't part of my land anymore. "It's $37, she snapped. "And a penalty for that flagpole?" I turned toward the pole, the one my dad cemented in the day he retired from the mill, hands still black with grease. He told me, "Son, you raise that flag not to show off, but to remember where you come from." That pole never bothered anyone, until the Queen decided we needed uniform sightlines. I felt anger stirred, but beneath it was grief. My dad had been gone 5 years, and that flagpole was one of the last things that still felt like him. "I'm not taking it down," I said. She smiled like a teacher scolding a child. "We'll see about that." A notice showed up, threatening a lien. $37 had ballooned into $300. Known compliance. They called it a word they loved, like sugar. I stood at the mailbox, wind tugging at the paper, and a neighbor driving by gave me a tight, knowing nod. Everyone knew who the Queen was. Everyone pretended she was just doing her job. It's easier that way, but something in me snapped that morning. Disbelief turned into resolve. I took the paperwork to the county clerk's office. My wife, Sarah, packed me a sandwich and slipped a note into the bag that said, "Remember who you are." That's the kind of woman she is, quiet strength in a handwritten line. The clerk frowned at the notice. "They can't file a lien that fast," she said. "Not without proper process." "Define proper," I said. She sighed. "Sometimes people count on you not asking questions." That line stuck with me. On my way out, I stopped by the post office to mail the certified letter she told me to send. I was standing in line, reading the community board to pass the time yard sales. Missing pets, the usual when, I froze. Pinned to the far edge was a wanted poster. Bold letters. Sheriff's seal. And right there in black and white was the Queen's face. Same smile, just colder. Different name, different town. Charges: fraud, embezzlement, impersonation. From another HOA just one county over for a second. I thought my eyes were playing tricks, but I knew that face. My hands shook as I pulled out my phone and snapped a photo. Then another. I sent it to my old friend Evan Hees, a deputy now over in Pine Ridge. We grew up together, played ball on the same muddy field. He called me right away. "That's her," he said. "We've been looking for her. Don't confront her, we'll handle it." I sat in my truck for a long while, watching sunlight flash off the windshield, heartbeat drumming in my ears. The anger I'd felt turned into something colder. Heavier justice waiting to breathe. That night, she sent an email to the entire neighborhood CC. ing the board warning about certain residents who refused to follow the rules. She meant me, of course. She called a special meeting for Saturday morning. Sarah placed a hand on my chest as I lay awake. "Don't let bitterness eat you alive," she whispered. "We'll walk in proud." Saturday came gray and cool. Folks shuffled into the clubhouse, clutching travel mugs. Glancing around like they'd all shown up to the same secret they didn't want to admit, the Queen stood at the front. Pearls shining, binder open. "We have a problem, neighbor," she said. Her tone sugar-sweet. "Some people believe rules are optional." She held up my letter like evidence in a trial. I raised my hand. Before you go on, mind clarifying how a lien gets filed so fast? She arched a brow. Are you a lawyer now? No, I said. Just a man who reads. A few neighbors laughed, nervous, but grateful. Her eyes flashed. We followed procedure, and that's when the back door opened. 2 deputies stepped inside. Behind them, Evan. He nodded once, calm as ever. Ma'am, he said, holding a folded paper. We need to talk. She frowned. We're in the middle of an official meeting. This is official, he said. He unfolded the paper, that same wanted poster. You're wanted in the next county. Fraud, impersonation, embezzlement. You've been operating under a false name. Her binder slipped. Papers scattered like birds. She reached for the table, then tried to run. She didn't make it far. The deputies were gentle, but firm. You could have heard a pin drop. Nobody cheered. Nobody smirked. We just breathed. For the first time in 2 years, I could actually breathe. Once they took her away, the silence in that room felt holy. The board members stared at each other, stunned. Finally, Mrs. Caldwell, our resident pie baker and unofficial town saint, spoke up. We owe you an apology, she said quietly. All of us. We let it get this far. Then let's fix it, I said, and we did. That same afternoon, we gathered back in the clubhouse with coffee and donuts. We voted to roll back every unjust fine. We rewrote the rules to make sense again. People shared their stories, warnings, petty letters, threats. We laughed in that shaky, grateful way people do when something finally ends right. By evening, I stood on my porch, sky painted in rose and gold. Sarah brought me coffee. You look lighter, she said. I am, I told her, looking at that flag dancing in the breeze. She smiled. You weren't fighting for $37, were you? No, I said softly. I was fighting for the man who taught me to stand tall. Across the street, Mr. Baird hung his long forbidden porch swing. Kids rode bikes without fear. Mrs. Caldwell waved from her driveway, flowers still on her hands. For the first time in a long time, the neighborhood felt like home again. The HOA didn't dissolve, it evolved. We kept the rules, but this time they had faces and reason. We added a clause for legacy items, flagpoles, mailboxes, handmade fences, things that carry family pride. Every so often, I still think about that wanted poster and the thin line between power and abuse. How close we came to losing our peace because it was easier to stay silent. But that Sunday morning, sitting on my porch with Sarah, the lake calm and the flag waving easy, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. My father's voice echoed in my memory. Stand tall, son, even when it's uncomfortable. And that's what I did. Because sometimes you don't stand up to win, you stand up to remember who you are. Have you ever faced an HOA like this? Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you believe some fights are worth having, hit subscribe. Let's stand up together.